Hello, in this OpenGL tutorial, we're going to show you how to set up a OpenGL project using SFML for the render window and stuff like events, input, that sort of stuff, and GLEW, which is the OpenGL extension wrangler that allows you to use essentially newer versions of OpenGL, aka OpenGL extensions. This is going to be done on a Windows machine. If you want to check it out for Mac, feel free. We've got videos covering that, and this is going to be using relative linking. We've got videos covering absolute linking if you're interested in that. Just a brief overview of the difference. Absolute linking would be something like if you link a library, you would actually put the explicit path, like if it's on the C drive, you put like C, exactly where it's located. Relative linking, you link it, well, relatively to your project. So if you move your projects around, you would move the library files around as well, and therefore it would just work regardless of where it is, and especially regardless of the machine that you put it on. One disadvantage, obviously, about something like relative linking is it creates more duplications of library files, but it is a lot more transportable. So let's just get down to it. The first two things that you need to download, or the first two things that you need to do, is download SFML and GLEW. So sfml-dev.org. There'll be a link in the description to this, and just go to the download section. Go to latest stable version, which happens to be 2.4.2 for me. If it's a different version, like a newer version, that's fine as well. And just select the Visual Studio version that you're dealing with. I've got 2015, so I'm going to download this. You can either get 32-bit or 64-bit. I would recommend 32-bit, even if you're on a 64-bit machine. It just ensures maximum compatibility, unless you're doing some sort of application that requires more than 3 gig of RAM, which probably you're not. Just stick with the 32-bit version. So I already got it downloaded. So next you want to go to GLEW, just sourceforge.net. You can either Google it or just click on the link in the description. And from here, you don't want to download the source, you want to download the binaries, which includes the 32-bit and the 64-bit, but you would obviously only use the actual version that you've decided to use. So once you've got that all downloaded, which I have right here, create a folder for your project somewhere. I'm creating on my desktop, and I'm just going to call it I'm going to call it OpenGL. In here, create a folder called external libraries, and let's start extracting our libraries out. And once these have extracted, we'll put them into the external libraries, so they'll be all managed and neat for our project structure, and you can easily add more libraries there as well, as you'll see in later videos. So in the SFML, you'll get another SFML folder. You basically want to move the folder that contains all of these files and folders, which happens to be this one. So open up external libraries, drag and drop this over. Now do the same for GLEW. So you want the folder that has all of these folders and files in there, so drag that over. This step is optional, but I would recommend renaming all of them to something like GLEW and just SFML. Remove the versions. The reason for this is when you're linking stuff up, you have to specify the folders. Even though you're not specifying the full path, you're still specifying part of the path. And as a result, if you have versions in there, you can just get tedious writing out that version again and again. And the other thing is, if at a later date you decide to update one of the frameworks within a project, and let's say we got 2.4.2 now in SFML, maybe you update it to 2.5.0 if that ever gets released, if that is even a valid SFML version in the future, and you can just copy and paste, basically replace the contents of this with the new version. You could do it the old way as well if this had, like -2.4.2, but it'd be a bit stupid if the actual folder said one version but the contents were another version. So you could say, okay, you could go down the route of rename the folder. If you rename the folder, you have to go into Visual Studio Project and start relinking everything up. This way it's just clean and it's just future proof. So once you've done all of this, what you need to do is create a Visual Studio project here. So open up Visual Studio, I'm using 2015. Though 2017 is out now, I recommend 2015 because a lot of frameworks have not updated their binaries for 2017 yet. So stick with 2015, click New Project, go to Visual C++, and go to Win32 console application. I'm just going to name this GL app, click Browse, and just make sure you browse to the directory, which happens to be right here. Select folder, make sure you got create directory for solution selected, click OK, click next, console application, empty project, deselect security development lifecycle, click finish. And now this will create our project. So we need to link up GLEW and SFML. Before we can do that in the project, we actually need to create a file, because here there should be a section called C++. That only appears once you add a C++ file. So just click New Item and just create a main file. We'll be coding this up very shortly. So go to Properties. As you can see, it's appeared now. Select Configuration, select all configurations. So it'll be set up for release and debug mode. And for the platform, just select either Win32 or 64-bit, depending on, well, the version that you are developing for. So I'm doing Win32. Go to C++, General. Go to Additional Include Directories. And this needs to point to the include folders here and here. So you could click the three dots here and navigate to it, but that's absolute linking. To do relative linking, you put $solution dir, and this refers to wherever on your computer the .sln file is. So we want to go back one folder to // then inside external libraries /SFML / include. So that's the code files for SFML setup. So if you just copy that, click New, paste it, and just change SFML to GLEW. So GLEW, click OK, and now go to Linker, General, Additional Library Directories, click Edit, and just paste what you've already got in the buffer here. Instead of doing include, you need to put lib, which refers to this folder right here with all of the library files. You need to do something very similar for GLEW. It's slightly different because GLEW's library folder is structured slightly differently. So in GLEW, lib, you're going to release, and go into the version that you chose, Win32, and that's how you would do it. So lib /release /Win32, click OK. One last thing, in input, go to additional dependencies. Now what we need to do is actually set the library files that we're using from, well, these folders. So the first one is going to be OpenGL32.lib. This is built into Windows, so you won't find it in GLEW or the SFML folder. And next, we're going to set up SFML, so SFML-audio. I'll open the folder so you can see the different library files, and I'll briefly explain where you would use them. So lib, we've got a bunch of different library files. The ones we are concerned with are just the SFML ones, and there's a lot here. You don't have to add all of them. There's essentially two different types. There's a debug type, and then there's, well, a release type. So you would set debug for the debug mode and release for the release mode, which we'll do in a moment. Then you'll also notice there's ones with -s, which refers to static. So if you want to statically link it to your project, you would use -s and, well, -s-d for the debug. We're just going to use regular linking, but if you know what static linking is and you want to go down that route, just use the -s versions. So just put -d dot lib. So just copy and paste this. So there's total of 6 instances, which I believe there is. There might not be, but we can add another one if need be. So we need one for graphics, We need another one for SFML main, then network, system. Okay, I do need one more, and this will be window. The last library file that we need to include is GLEW32.lib. So if I just open this up, show you what's in here. There's two library files. There's a regular one and a static link one. So if you want to use static linking, just put that one. We're just going to use regular linking. So we're going to use GLEW32.lib. And that is it. Click OK, click apply. One last step within the properties, because remember -d is only good for debug. So if you go to configuration, go to release, instead of having to type all of that out again, you just get rid of the -d, and what you have now is set up for debug and release. For GLEW, you don't have it separate one for debug and release. That's only for SFML. So click apply, OK, and what we can do is actually start coding our application. So I'm going to close all this down so we've got a bit more real estate to work with. So the first thing is we're going to do a hash include iostream, and I'm going to do hash include. So you'll notice if I type in GL, the actual GLEW is now linked as a library. So GLEW.h, that's the only thing you need to do. If you did statically link it, you will need hash define GLEW underscore static. You would just need that one line before the include, but apart from that, the code is the same. So you want to do a hash include for SFML / window.hpp. Now we're going to create some constants, and it's going to be of GL int type, so an OpenGL integer, and these are just going to be the width and the height of our browser. So 16 width equals 1600, height equals 1200. You can obviously set these to whatever you want. Now we're going to create the main entry point of our application. Add some empty lines so it's just easier to scroll up and down. And now just put SF. Actually, I always like to put the return statement, so exit underscore success. That's just over and done with in case you forget later on. Just put SF context settings. So we're going to create some settings that we'll use when creating our window. And this is just going to be called settings. We're going to just set the depth bit to 24. If you're interested in what these do a bit more, feel free to go to the SFML website or Google it. But we're just going to briefly go over it. So settings.stencil bits equals 8. Next, it's settings.major version equals 3. Settings.minor version equals 3. And settings.attribute flags equals SF context settings, and we want the core version, so like so. So this will be the core OpenGL stuff. So the two that we're really interested with here are the major and minor version. So these are the version, this is the version of OpenGL. So if we have 3.3, it's setting it to 3.3. But if let's say we had 3.0, this will be setting it to 3.0. So the major version is the number to the left of the decimal point on the version of OpenGL, and minor is to the right. So let's get rid of that so it doesn't cause any errors. And now what we're going to do is create our window. So SF window, and in here I'm going to put SF video mode. And in here, we're just going to put the width and the height, and then just the modes per pixel, the number of bits. So just put 32-bit. This doesn't refer to like 32-bit or 64-bit, so you still have 32 if you chose the 64-bit libraries. And after the bracket, you just put the actual title of our application, which is essentially what would appear at the top here. I'm going to put OpenGL SFML and put comma SF style, string style, colon title bar, and if we OR it, we can add more settings essentially for our title bar. So this means we're going to have a title bar plus another style, and this is going to be close. So essentially we're going to have a close button, and comma, we just provide the settings that we created, and that's it. So we created the window now. Let's just set up GLEW. So we're going to do GLEW experimental equal GL_true. Ignore the fact that it says experimental. This is what is required to be able to essentially use the new function pointers, the new stuff in OpenGL. And now let's do if GLEW underscore OK is not equal to GLEW init. So we're trying to initialize GLEW inline. If it doesn't return GLEW OK, something has gone wrong. And we will just put std_cout failed to initialize GLEW std end line, and just put a return exit underscore failure. So that's the GLEW setup. So what we want to do now is just create our game loop. So I'm going to do bool running equals true. So while it's running, we're going to handle all of the game logic and draw the window. First of all, we need to handle events. So SF event, window event, and then you just poll the events. Essentially, you're checking what events have occurred. So while window.poll event, window event, and we're only going to handle one event, and that's just going to be when you click the close, it actually closes it. Something you have to handle yourself. If you are interested more in the SFML side of it, so the different events, the different stuff you can do with SFML, feel free to check out our SFML courses on YouTube, and you will see all the different things that you can do. So you just put, we're switching on the window event dot type, so we're checking what type of event has occurred. And like I said, the only event that we're going to concern ourselves with in this video is the close event, so closed. And when this occurs, we just put running equals false and just put a break. And that's it. So that will close the window, and we click close. Now we're just going to essentially do the drawing code for OpenGL. So GL clear color 0.2f, 0.3f. This just ranges between 0 and 1, you know, similar to 0 to 255. This is just normalized, and 0.3f. And for the alpha, set this to fully visible, so 1.0f. Now just clear the screen, so GL clear. This GL clear color essentially almost, you can think of it as setting a background color. So clears the screen with this color, but the GL clear clears the contents of the screen, and we need to clear the color underscore buffer bit. And once that's occurred, you draw open GL, then you display to the window, so window.display, then outside you just do window.close, because if it hits the code outside, then something has occurred, for example like the close button has been pressed. So if I run it, let's see what we get. And fantastic, we got some errors. So knew these errors were going to occur, didn't want to fix them until you saw them actually occurring, because just in case in the future you come across these errors, so you know how to fix them. So it's saying the DLL is missing for SFML system. It's actually missing for all of the SFML libraries. So if you go to your project, go to the SFML in the external libraries, go to bin, copy and paste all these DLLs into GL app, into where your CPP file is. So paste that here, rerun it. Still giving an error, but it's to do with GLEW. We need to do the same for GLEW as well. So go to external libraries, GLEW, bin, release, select the version, so Win32 for me, just the top one, the .dll, and just paste in the same location, so where your CPP file was. Now if we run it, as you can see, we have, so this is just saying the created OpenGL context does not fully meet the settings. There was obviously something there that was set, and it's just got a different version instead. You might get that, you might not. If that happens, doesn't matter. And yes, so we have our window created. So the general, and also it allowed me to click close and it worked. So actually, it should be free. So if I put free now, I can see that error doesn't occur. So that error was occurring because I was trying to, do the new OpenGL stuff. So the core stuff on it. So just one last thing, because we're all set up now, is the general system for your project is like this. You would handle events input, then you would update game logic here. Based on that, you would draw it. So this is all part of the draw stage. So don't go putting this before anything else, just have this sort of structure. So that is it. There's actually one thing I will show you. I remember talking toward the start of the video about duplications of the library files. So if, for example, you wanted to reset it up, trying to go through that process again can be a hassle. So within this folder, if you simply just copy and paste, essentially duplicate your project, not the external libraries, the project, and this is already linked, because remember that $solution dir refers to this, it's already linked to this. If you move this outside of the folder, it will no longer be successfully linked, but you can just move this folder wherever you want on your computer, onto another computer, as long as you have Visual Studio, and it'll just work. So that's it for setting up SFML and GLEW on Windows using relative linking. If you have any questions, feel free to post them on my educational platform, sonarlearning.co.uk. There'll be a link in the description. Alongside that, there will be links to SFML and GLEW. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and leave us a comment. And as usual, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.